What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer, taking a look at something completely different here. So I tried out my first ever remote duel. Played it with a coworker, really awesome guy, really cool. He kind of introduced me to the entire idea of remote dueling. And I was playing ABC Cyber Dragon, and my deck got crucified, and so I had to think of something else. So I went to Plan B. I am playing Invoked, Dogmatic, and Generaider, which is like my favorite deck pretty much in Yu-Gi-Oh! And he's playing Virtual World. I'm going to do some commentary in the game, talk about kind of what's going on. Obviously, this is a new format for the entire channel, so that'll be kind of interesting. You'll let me know what you guys think, but start off with good old-fashioned normal summon Alistair. Who doesn't, love that? And as you'll see, like throughout the duel, I'll be like transitioning, kind of trying to cut this down as much as possible, but I mean, this is honestly like the best way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Because you're actually playing it. Like Master Duel and stuff and all these other simulators, which I really love. Honestly, I haven't played the physical card game in a long time, but it's the best way to duel because you're talking to a person, like human interaction. It's not degenerate like online. Like you can't be just complete scum like people are when they're anonymously playing. But it's, the skill part of it, like Dueling Book is close, but like it can be really frustrating and it's extremely slow. Like, oh, is that okay? Is that okay? That was okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like in the chat box, like versus playing in real life, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to, is this cool? And you can just get a quick verbal, yep, or think, that kind of thing. There's no miscommunication, which that's kind of the reason why I don't play. So I go for Makaba Pass. I don't remember what my back row was, to be completely honest with you. But we'll see where he starts out here. A little bit of thinking. Oh, we were actually talking about his playmat because I said I really liked it because he has those full zones. So it's like meant for one players. And it's got the cool pendulum zones in there. I kind of definitely want one of those. But the thing I like the most is that their extra monster zone is full, which I think is really cool. Obviously, me, with this little silly playmat I got from some random box, just kind of like falls off because it's meant to like connect with somebody else's. But yeah, I like playing personally with zones, by the way, or playing with mats that have zones on them. For some reason, I just feel like that's way better. But most people like play with clear. In any case, he goes for a Hidden City. Pretty cool there because he gets Chuchi. Definitely something I have to think about. I may have a lot of hand traps. Like the whole deck is one card play starters and hand trap. So we'll see what I have in form of disruption. So he's gonna go for Lulu. So I'm like, yep. I was trying to get my card. I wasn't used to it yet. But I sent him a Garda, so to negate and banish there. Actually, I think that was my fault. I think we were just talking about it and he forgot to banish it, but fair enough for sure. I think, yeah, maybe I was just looking at it, but a little bit of miscommunication on my part. That's also a big part about playing real life Yu-Gi-Oh! Like your communication skills just have to be on point. Because right there, like, who knows? I could have lost me the duel, right, at some point. Okay. He's going to go ahead and dump Qinglong, so he's going to get that search. And then he's going to summon, I think, GG. He's going for GG. So I'm like close to that, but I'm going to set, okay, DD Crow. I'm going to target the Qinglong. I just read it to make sure that Qinglong, or that DD Crow can banish anything, which makes the card just like that much better. Especially if you look at, what's it called? Branded in red? Yeah. That's a good, because you can just get rid of their target. Although I think Tragedy has an effect on banishment, but not being able to fusion summons obviously is like crazy, because the Chimera like dragon thing that it ends up summoning out, draws them cards, it destroys your cards, so it's like totally worth it whatever advantage they get. I just had one last card in hand. I don't remember what it was though. I think it might be an Ash. So I think he's gonna go ahead and go into the extra deck. I'm feeling decent right now, not going to lie. I don't know how he's going to banish anything else at this point, so I don't think his Chuchi's going to be, like, active. I'm pretty sure that set is called by. I did put that in there in, like, kind of the last second. I'm playing a lot of weird cards in my deck, and maybe I'll do, like, a strange deck profile, like a budget profile for this deck. Because I just have stuff laying around, and I don't feel like spending a bunch of money on a few cards when like I ended up taking out some like effect veil, or I took out some imperms and put some more effect veilers in there. So he's going to go into the rank 3. It negates when something not on the field activates its effect. So if I were to activate another light, I'm pretty sure I can negate that. But yeah, his Chi-Chi isn't online at this point. And this isn't a serious duel. I think I talked about that in the beginning. Like, he's just playtesting. I was just playtesting. Literally my first time playing these cards in real life. Because Mikaba doesn't have a lot of attack. Honestly, I don't know. Like, you definitely don't want to play in the Lightning Storm. Like, 2,000 attack, while that's, like, not so great. And what I actually did for this turn is, I did not... I don't even know. Yes, I think I still would have let that go through. Like, sometimes I don't activate Invocation in Grave, like, because I hate drawing. Like, if you draw Invocation, it's the most depressing thing. But I'm pretty sure for the rest of the duel, I don't. Or I should say I do activate the effect before the end phase, excuse me. But not in this turn specifically. One card in hand. Get to draw one there. And I think that's probably the first thing I do. Yeah, checking that called by. I run, like, there's a few surprises, so I guess I'll just keep them that way. But I run a lot of extended packages in this deck. It's a very straightforward type of thing. When you don't run cards like Pot of Prosperity, like your extra deck, like, you can actually utilize to its fullest capacity versus, like, just having targets that you're always going to banish. It's kind of cool having all 15 cards at your disposal. And that's, like, actually a very important thing here. So, activate Invocation. We'll see what I end up going into next. I think it's actually the Agodes, if I'm not mistaken, which I'm pretty sure, like, every Invoked package plays Agodes because it's, like, a really good card, objectively, and it works so well with Dogmatica. I actually don't think I see, like, a Clazy or anything. I don't even see most of my Dogmatica engine. Maybe my Trap I do. Okay, so go ahead and normal summon Alistair. I'm sure he saw it coming. Everybody probably saw it coming. Add Invocation. And if you're looking at my card sleeves, I actually have Shatterfoil card sleeves on. Shatterfoil is my favorite card rarity in Yu-Gi-Oh! So I found some card sleeves that make all of your cards Shatterfoil. And I think that's really cool. And if you look at my extra deck, kind of a cool little, like, Millennium Puzzle background thing I have too. Cool thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! I feel like they have the coolest card sleeves. Talking about how much you want to cut there. Gave that a good shuffle. That's the shuffle deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right there. Activate Invocation there. Pretty cool. Looks like I finally made my decision. And I probably just go into Agodes because I want to get rid of his Exceed monster for sure. I want to give him less targets. Okay, I guess I'll just have to find out. But on summon, goes ahead and pops there. Pretty neat. So that is going to go to the graveyard. It's kind of like a really bad version of DP, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't come back, but it does, like, pop a card every turn. And it's, like, more valuable than you might think. Like, popping a monster, pretty decent. Like, upon any special summon, too. Like, your opponent's obviously, like, in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Going to be special summoning quite a bit. But go ahead and shoot that into the calculator. And pass. 2 back row now. I don't know what the other one is. Maybe it's one of my Solemn. I do run 3 Solemn Strike because if I'm running 11 or 12 hand traps, in my mind at least, I'm like, what is the difference between 12 and 15 hand traps? Like, right? Like, why don't you play something that's a little more impactful? And Solemn, like, your opponent definitely is not going to expect you to be playing it. And it's like most decks do not run over 12 hand traps. So you're, like, running the standard amount plus having these kind of, like, spice cards there. So he goes ahead and normal summon. So I'm thinking checkmate in my mind because if I can pop his monster and then pop his Chi-Chi and his normal summons not out, like, how is he going to get virtual worlds on the board? Doesn't have a Qinglong engrave either. So I thought that was a pretty good move, even though it looks like kind of like I'm shotgunning it, but I think it's actually based in a little bit of logic there. I think that's the only Dogmatica card I see for the rest of this match. Checking graveyards here if he has any effects. On top of all of this too, like, I still have, like, whatever my back row is and also, like, my Agodes. So if he is able to special summon, definitely have the answer for it. And I think he decided to scoop, yeah. I was talking about my like Invoked package after this and stuff, but yeah, I've played Virtual World enough to know kind of where the soft spots are, which is really the advantage of like online simulators more than anything. Because like I would never want to imagine. I mean, some people do that, but I mean, I couldn't imagine being like, I want to learn this new deck. Let me just pay $100 for the core, right? And then it's like bad. Like, oh, that'd be so depressing to me. I like to invest money in cards I only know that I want to play. That's pretty much how it goes. Back in the day, I was too frivolous, and it's just not a good habit. All right, and into game 2 we go. And this is where things get really crazy. This is a really great game. So it ended up being like a really entertaining match, actually. Probably the most entertaining one that I've had like in like months playing Yu-Gi-Oh! One thing I will say though, like I've been learning all the TCGs and I played Pokemon, and Pokemon's really fun. Honestly, you should give it a try. I played Magic. I didn't really like it that much. I think I'm still going to try to get into it because I know how popular it is, but obviously I played Yu-Gi-Oh! The most, and I can say for sure that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is by far the best trading card game. Like the actual game itself, the decision trees that you have to make, it's just, it's so fun. It is like the most challenging game. It's like, it's about challenging yourself. It's a puzzle. Like Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like big puzzle. Like just like Yugi's grandpa said.
Sometimes the cards are like a puzzle. You have to put all the different pieces in their proper place.
Ah, like the Millennium Puzzle?
Exactly. Each piece helps build a greater entity.
Grandpa!
Like the pieces of a puzzle, Yugi.
But that's the best part. It's like an interactive puzzle where you're like your opponent's there and you're trying to like figure out like, okay, this is what my end goal is. Like, how do I get there? And I just don't know. Like other TCGs are just a little more straightforward than that. So I think I like the complicatedness of Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay, so he does play the punk package in there. So Z Amen, effect to go search the trap. I was like, let me think about that for a second. Big think, obviously. Very hard decision. I was just checking out the rest of my hand because I actually had a bunch of hand traps, which obviously you're going to get all the time. And I'm pretty sure I go ahead and choose. So Effect Veiler, show it to the camera there so you can see it. I just have like a blank card. I'm just like, this is Effect Veiler? No. So Effect Veiler goes to the graveyard, and I think it was an early shotgun, but my hand was like super gassed up. Like I had multiple, so I'm thinking like, okay, I'm stopping him from getting an imperm. Like that probably is worth it. GG Effect to go ahead and dump, and then I think at the end phase, obviously just gets to add back a Virtual World monster. Very, very good card. And Qinglong to go banish. Really big thing there. But in my mind, I'm thinking I might as well Ash the Lulu, because if I have Ash, I'm pretty sure I do. Because like that card gives you too much advantage. I know it doesn't stop it permanently, so maybe not the worst thing in the world, but the fact that he already had GG on the board means that he's going to add it back to his hand anyway. So I literally might as well Ash it if I get the opportunity to. The Punk engine is just like, I don't know. Is it like the people talk about it as like super underrated? I kind of saw it on Twitter the other day. It's kind of underrated. I feel like it's really close to being, but I just don't know if it is yet. There's like tuners and there's like fusion summoning. Like at some point it's going to work, and maybe it'll probably come down to them like getting actually good extra deck monsters versus like really random ones that are only like in archetype, more as like a general fusion summon, or I don't know. It's a good tuner engine too. You can still go into Hulk. I don't know what you're doing with Hulk anymore. I'm sure someone's already figured something out. But yeah, okay. So he goes ahead and activates Lulu. I'm going to say, okay, Ash Blossom there. Got to hit you with that one, sir. Stops a lot of people's plays. Like when it happened to me, I was like, dang, that sucks. So I'm like forcing him to have like a really good extender, because now he doesn't even, as far as I know, neither of those were tuners. Or I guess it was. Oh, I think he goes into Stardust. Fair enough, right? Drawing a card at that point. Like if your opponent has stopped you, probably the best play to like see another card, because you're just like more than just your top deck of the next turn versus like some like half interruption, or He could have probably made Juju too. But I don't know. You don't want to just leave your opponent open and like dare them to have an out to a non like targeting destruction type of card. If you even have the requirements for it to actually protect it too. So again, like I said, I think Stardust actually was a really good move there. I didn't even think about it. But I'm pretty sure that every Virtual World deck plays this at this point. All right, I'm thinking I probably should have kept my cards like more on camera. That's my fault. I'm pretty sure that's like a huge like no disqualification. And I'm gonna try to get some more equipment for this too, so that my board looks a little bit better. It's like this isn't like awful, terrible, but I know people have those like really nice like arms and they put it like directly over it. I'll figure that out eventually. All right, I think I'm gonna go ahead and go for Nadir's Servant, hoping to pop that Chuchi in the back row, and then pop his Stardust Warrior. But he has an Ash Blossom of his own. Only fair. I have been opening up so many hand traps in this duel. And I'm going to go ahead and activate Generaider Boss Stage. Boom shakalaka. It's going down. Set 1. Don't remember what that is. And I think I have like a hand trap. So this is going to take a second during his turn. So he's going to go for the draw phase. I'm going to say, like affect a boss stage. Cool. Yeah, I mean, like, it says when your opponent adds a card from deck to hand, and it doesn't say except during the draw phase, like literally any time. I think it's only not during the damage stuff, which is just like so random. But so it's going to go ahead and trigger. And if it didn't have that clause, like if it didn't activate during your opponent's draw phase, like it would be the worst card ever. It's like that's like 90% of the power levels that you're bringing out a boss monster during your opponent's draw phase. I was frantically searching for anything to use as tokens while he was like, okay. I think I grabbed like a bunch of white sleeves. I think I may have actually told him, I assumed he knew what boss stage does. Like, I'm sure not a lot of people who play like actual competitive Yu-Gi-Oh or like regular Yu-Gi-Oh even know what that is. It's like the most random archetype ever. All right, so from the deck, I'm going to go ahead and summon the Har, most likely. So it seemed like kind of like a bad start for me. He's kind of like really kind of picking up a little bit. So, Har to go ahead. Oh, well, actually, I got to shuffle my deck real quick. But after that, a bunch of tokens come down. So unfortunately, well, I guess it would be crazy if they had like really good stats. They're only like 1500 attack, and they have to be in attack position, but I don't know, you're probably always going to activate those tokens before your opponent ever has a chance to do anything. Really cool that Har is 3k attack and 3k defense. Like there's like a lot of small reasons why this engine is like above like decent. It's like actually pretty good. And it's because they have like big stats and they're also like a good level. Like level 9s, very cool. Invoked Macabre, a level 9. Like it really works out pretty well. Because if you can go into the extra deck and go for I don't do in this duel, I didn't need to, but I forget what the card's called, but it's kind of like that carrier, that Phantom Fortress card. Yeah, that's what it's called. Very good thing. So tokens come out. Hard, like if your opponent adds something to their hand, they got to send a monster from hand or field. Super underrated effect, obviously. If your opponent does if the first thing they do is like search, they have to discard a card. Like that's just awesome. I was explaining to him what the attack of it was. Just 1500. The scary thing is you got to be careful with with Invocation if your opponent has it, because if there's a bunch of tokens and they go into Purgatrio, like you're done for. It's definitely just game. It's going to go ahead and summon the Z Amen. I was reading Har one more time. It negates and destroys. If it just negated, the card probably wouldn't be that good. Because if they activate something from their hand, right, like it destroys it too. It's really nice. I'm pretty much just waiting for him to activate Chuchi. Like, it's kind of what I'm waiting for. So I can destroy him. I kind of just talked about how important that effect was. Like, imagine if I just negated Chuchi and it was still on the field. Yeesh. That would stink. He went ahead and activated to add Foxy Tune to his hand. Kind of a weird hand right now. Let's kind of see where he goes with it. I know it's a free body. I was talking about because I thought I discarded or something. I didn't really remember what the effect was too much. I literally just remember it as like a Hulk engine, which is terrible. I think you can also tribute to special summon too. And looks like we're going for a synchro summon of the, I think it's called like Velometer or something like that. I'll have it on the screen, obviously. But I know it like banishes a tuner to destroy, so I go ahead and activate Solemn Strike. Boom, it's like, who's playing around Solemn Strike? Nobody, because nobody really plays that card. But yeah, I did negate. It negates the monster effects or special summons. And the fact that it's a like the card is just so clean in the deck. It's so good. It's gonna win you a lot of duels for sure. Especially if you're going first, even going second, like it can still do a whole lot. Like your opponent just like, it's because like if your opponent has a bunch of Omni Negates, like they're gonna think that they have the answer for anything in your back row, but they don't. Oh, you know what? No, fair enough. I was gonna say, is there a way I could destroy it right now so it misses target? So this is where I was like really starting to think, because he's obviously going to send a Qinglong here. So I have to decide how I want to play this. I say, okay, that's fine. Like, what is stopping one GG? It does stop recursion. I'm like daring him to have like a really good extender in hand. I'm not sure. But what I was thinking at this point is like, okay, well, he's going to activate Qinglong because I'm assuming he doesn't have, like, he needs something. He's going to use it. Like, that would just be silly not to. Thinking again. Do I want to, like, the idea is, like, do I want to stop him from going into the extra deck? But, again, I think that's cool. I'm also, like, waiting for him. And, like, the other worry was that he's going to summon something that could get over hard before I got to use the activation. But the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, he probably doesn't have anything else outside of that first synchro. He's going to go ahead and throw the Zhuangwu. And I think I actually like had a DD Crow in this game, and I never, like, he activates Zhuangwu at some point. I don't activate it. Although I'd have to remember the game state. Maybe it was like totally a valid thing that like, it didn't matter. But there goes Qinglong. He's going to lose something. Although, like, really, he could just send probably Gigi from field, search Lulu. Although at that point, right, I'm probably just negating that. But now Chuchi's online. I don't know. I don't really know what you can do with that. Like, because at the end of the day, I negate. Yeah, like, he's got 3k defense. There's gotta be something. Like, that can't be like that big of a problem. But he did send a Foxy Tune, so at that point I'm like, okay, you know what, fair enough, right? Like, it's not really doing anything at this point in the duel. But having Chuchi online is it's just too easy for them to banish a bunch of cards. Like, you got to get rid of it like now or never. But I think he was activating something else. I have to remember. I thought he would just like straight up chain it, like after the Qinglong. Like that's kind of how I thought he would play it. But really, I guess there is like no real rush. Oh yeah, Zhuangwu. You have to send from hand, and this is where I'm pretty sure I had DD Crow and I could have used it. And in fact, I think I ended up like with two DD Crows in my hand at the end of the duel. So it's like, I don't know. I don't think I had the second one at the time. I'll have to see. Or maybe that's what he discarded off of my Har. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Okay, Lao Lao. Effect targeting Chuchi. You can probably just send like something that you don't want to draw at that point. All right, checking graveyard, thinking here. Now he's probably going to go for Chuchi. Yep, there he goes. I wonder, does it shuffle back for cost? Probably not. Probably not. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and use 2 tokens there to negate, of course. Go ahead and get rid of that. I think I had to tell him it destroys too. Yep. Fair enough. So it's like, all right, now he kind of has like a good pocket of his like extra deck ready. All right. Couple of Qinglongs, can't use those, which is honestly pretty nice. Like his follow-up just not going to be as good because he probably doesn't have any more. Oh no, you probably have 3 Qinglong. At least I'm pretty sure I used to play with 2. If you're running 2 Potted Desires, although he does end up seeing it this turn. I was going to say if he doesn't play it, but you kind of just have to in Virtual World, right? Having 2 helps a lot because Virtual World is super bricky. It's kind of the nature of the deck. It's either crazy or bricky. Sticking him like he has like super pristine card sleeves when he double sleeves. I do not take care of my cards nearly as well. Okay, so he goes ahead and banishes the Chuchi to level manipulate. I think he goes ahead and puts it down to 2, or to 3, excuse me, from 6 to 3. One of these I'm pretty sure is a tuner. But like I said, like Shen doesn't do anything. Just doesn't have enough attack points at this point. And honestly, like they never even hit the graveyard. You're like boss stage monsters. He goes for Coral Dragon. Honestly, he plays this really well. I just like I played it pretty well too at the end of the day. But he does go for Zulkin, so Coral Dragon when it's sent to the graveyard to get to draw a card. Really, like what he's thinking is all I need to see is a spell and trap. I mean, I was kind of like, I don't know. I guess if it was a Chuchi, that'd be kind of tough, but not that bad. But he's gonna draw one. We will see what it is eventually. He was just saying you needed kind of like a heart of the cards thing. So he sees it, thinks it's pretty good. I can kind of signal that it is a spell and trap, which pretty high chance. But he's going to go ahead and activate Sulkin, and I'm like, hold on, Chief. I had one last card in my hand. Effect Veiler. Ooh, pretty clutch, not going to lie. Effect Veiler coming in hot right now. Even though I don't think it's a very popular hand trap, it's good against, like, the thing is, like, you never know what you're really going to play unless you're, like, going to a regional. But, like, if you're just playing against the average Joe Jack, like Effect Veiler's always, like, pretty dang good. It's good on Mogi. Like, there's definitely some good stuff even in the meta. You know, you're playing Eldritch Trap. You just kind of cry, but what are you going to do about that? I was saying, and we were both talking about how we were low on resources, and what I was explaining, I was like, well, like I am, like I don't have anything in my hand, but Boss Stage is like, it's almost like an additional card every turn. It's like a special, like a quick effect special summon from the deck, really. So it's like, I'm getting something really good during the beginning of your turn, and like I'm getting a top deck as well. Like that, those two things together, like they help out tremendously. So end phase, obviously the tokens get destroyed there. And I will go ahead and draw. Take a look. I mean, really all I need is like an invocation, but probably just like a hand trap. I think I draw like a DD Crow or something. And then I'm just going to go ahead and attack into the Zulkin. So a good 3k right there. Boom shakalaka. Throw that into the Neuron app, which is pretty nice, actually, not going to lie. I wish they'd let you use it for competitive events. Like, you still have to use paper. Kind of strange, kind of whack, in my opinion. All right. Go ahead and draw. And then during his draw phase, boss stage effect, boom, another one comes down. So that one, that's a Garda. So quick effect, target, banish, cool beans, right? Cool beans. And I don't know what his back row is, but I make a pretty bold move. Like, it's not a Chuchi, like, that's for sure. It could be... No, I was going to say it could be, like, the Hidden City, but he would have activated that afterwards, after Zulkin. So it's like... It's gotta be Pot of Desires, right? Like what other card? It's almost like playing 20 questions, but I don't know. It's like, it's gotta be, right? And then I'm like, okay, on summon of tokens, tribute 2 tokens, and then banish that card. All right. So that goes ahead and goes bye-bye, and we'll see if my... Well, I know. It is a Pot of Desires, so no two ways about it. So definitely stopping him from getting some pretty good stuff. Like, that could definitely be like a change of the tide type of thing. I could have also waited for the Omni Negate, but I feel like I don't know. Actually, you know what? Fair enough, because the Virtual Worlds, when they special summon from the hand, they have to target. So if I were to use a guard on it... But, I don't know. Obviously, an Omni Negate just has more utility overall. But he does have the Hidden City, so he did get that off the top. Probably going for a Chuchi. Definitely to get that pop online. Although, I'm pretty sure I actually negate this, because it's like... What? I think I knew last card in hand was like... Lulu. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. At this point, I'm like 90% sure I knew. So it's like, okay, he doesn't get Chuchi. What is he going to do after this? All right, so he's going to go ahead and activate Zhuangwu from the graveyard. This was actually a pretty sweet move, not going to lie. Like, my deck is kind of like specifically like has an out to this, but this was awesome. Like, I had no idea where he was taking this. I was like, okay, so you have to like use a card from hand? So it's like, what are you doing? I did not see this line at all. I wouldn't even have thought about it. But he's going to go ahead and bring back Gigi, which is going to trigger Niang Niang. So he gets to put like a Synchro 6 on board. Which is like, all right, you got it. Like in a grind game, you have to have an out for a battle in targeting, or just a battle in card effect, like protection. So you gotta like there's like some pretty specific outs at this far into the game. Like I said, if I had my full hand and my whole like job was just to get rid of that, yeah, okay, different story. But it's like, I just have a Har. All right, and now we can go for the Synchro Summon. The Niang Niang gets banished. And there we go. It's just got like a brick wall there. It's like, all right, what do you have like, what out do you have for this? Like, I'm just going to be gaining resources like as I draw if you don't have an out, and like the further along it goes, like obviously the much better it is for him. He hasn't even used much of his extra deck. And I think we're going end phase effective GG to add back. So like I said, like things are looking up for him. Like that was a really good play. Sword Soul probably wouldn't have that hard of a time. Like I'm thinking of that big synchro that when a card's banished, like you get to banish a card from your opponent's like field and graveyard. Yeah, I guess Eldritch, but I don't know. Against every other deck, like Conquistador at least isn't like providing it out. Like I don't know. There's definitely a few things. And honestly, thinking about like regular Invoked, like without the full package, I don't know. Like a Godie's like definitely doesn't do anything. Purgatrio like would do piercing, which is like kind of funny, but obviously like not that great. We were just going over the graveyard. He was just showing me like all of like the targets for that meet the requirements for not being destroyed by battle or card effect. And then yeah, he uses effect to banish a couple and send a card of control to the graveyard. So this is like one of my shortcomings because I'm cheap. Although, well, I'll talk about it. So I'm gonna activate Magical Meltdown here in a second. The thing is like, I play 2 Alistair and 2 Magical Meltdown because like Alistair's like $10 and I just don't want to, stupidly I don't want to spend $10 on it. So like that could have been that could have been an extra copy of Alistair. Plus I would have had boss stage. So obviously it's like way better. I only run one copy because I play terraforming, and like every offhand, if you have like boss stage plus terraforming, you can like search Alistair instead. It's like a really valid thing. I mean, this isn't the end of the world. I'm definitely gonna like be able to find an out here. And I'm gonna talk about like the end of this duel is gonna showcase a couple of cards that are a lot better than I think people give it credit for. Cards that you just don't like, you just rarely see that have like very good effects. All right, so I added Invocation, and they were kind of talking about Invocation. He was like, like one of the outs to this card would be Raijin. And I'm like, I'm not going to lie to you, Chief. I definitely play Raijin in my extra deck. So just finishing up some shuffling here. I was looking, we were talking about his graveyard because like I have a win in my graveyard, I think at this point. I'm pretty sure. But he has like a bunch of targets in his. So I'm going to activate Invocation. I think I accidentally sent that to the graveyard. Oh, no. Okay. Fair enough. So I'm going to go ahead and go into Almirage because I want to protect my extra deck monster that I send out. So I could have also gone into like a Secure Garden, but I don't really care about my life points at this point. Like that would be sick if I were able to keep this on the board, right? So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I think I banished his Lulu. Just so he doesn't have like a way to recur it at the like current moment. Or I think he actually added it back to his hand. I end up banishing like something. But I do go ahead and go into Raijin. A protected Raijin from card destruction. So pretty much like unstoppable at this point, right? Because I have a Book of Moon every single turn. But I'm going to go ahead and use the effect of flip that face down. Doesn't really have great defense stats either. Which really the card isn't designed for because it's supposed to be like, that it can't be destroyed by battle. But I'm going to go ahead and go to the battle phase, attack over. Really extenuated that there. Probably could have just picked it up a little bit and had to just shove it right into the camera. That was a nice move by me. But yeah, so I can go ahead and get around that, which is nice. And really, like, he's in a tough place now because if he normal summons a virtual world and then goes for the next one to target, flip it. Like, it's like, that's a tough place to be in. I'm going to go ahead and go to, main phase 2. Shuffle back the Invocation. A little bit of protection. Although, like I said, there's really no way that they're going to get over my Raijin. It's kind of just sticking there. Almost like a DP as well, right? Once per turn quick effect disruption. But they always have use. Like, always. Like, in the graveyard, like, the upper fusions, like, Agodes and stuff. It's like, I don't know. Your opponent's got to, like, use resources to get rid of it, and then it's just coming back again. Like, Alistair Normal Summon is, like, so good. It's really so good. I hope it never goes away. It's so fun to use, not gonna lie. Although I don't think he has a Zhuangwu. I don't think he has a Qinglong in graveyard. Like, he just really doesn't have extenders at this current moment. He can play a little bit of defense. I mean, there's probably a few cards that like. If he did have a Pot of Desires, like that'd be pretty good right now. So I think all the more like reason that I banish that face down card. I gotta stop putting my hand off the screen. But he goes ahead and sets one, passes. So now really it's all just a puzzle. He has no cards in hand and a face down. Like I definitely want to end the duel like in this turn. So it's going to take a little bit of brain power. We'll see if I can figure it out. But there's a few ways. So I'm not really worried about destruction of my cards anymore. So like Almirage, I can just like, all right, put another like 1,000 attack on board. I'm going to have an Alistair Fusion. And I'm going, like, I could go into Purgatrio, which, I don't know, probably is the best. Would have been pretty, like, decent. But he had quite a few life points still at this point. Like, I really hadn't done that much damage. But I knew there was a path, and I ended up figuring it out pretty early on. The gold rare art for Alistair, pristine. Like, super duper prefer to play it over the regular. 100%. The reprints in gold rare for Invocation, life changing. Having easy access to that was just, it's cool because it's such a mid range deck. Like you can literally just play it against at any time. Like it's just always decent. It'll never be a bad card. I feel like forever. I can't imagine it ever being like so bad like it gets power crept. I just don't think that's a thing. That'd be a crazy day in Yu-Gi-Oh. But yeah, go ahead and get rid of Almirage. Link summon there. Definitely helps clean things up if I need to, which I'm pretty sure I do. I think I have to put 40, he had like 42. I'll have life points on the video, but pretty sure he had 44 life points left. 4,400, not 44. So not the easiest thing is with a set monster there, but Invocation, probably do not expect this monster, secret MVP, I guess, of the duel for a few reasons. So banish Almirage, and I'm not going into Purgatrio. It's not happening because I don't think Purgatrio would have been enough. I'm going to go into Elysium. So a couple things about this card. It's a quick effect Raigeki. Kinda. It's for attributes, but you have to banish an Invocation monster. Alistair's not bad because Alistair's a Dark. Dark is the most popular in the game. But Elysium counts as every type, or every attribute, excuse me, at all times. So it can banish itself to banish like your opponent's full board, which could be good against Flu Under Ease, for example. Wind monsters, that's kind of what they do. So I think it's like, I think there's a lot of applications for it. I really just, the Flu Under Ease matchup would probably be so bad. Maybe not if I was going first, but I don't know. I guess Ecclesia kind of does something. I'd have to really play it through. I do not enjoy playing Flu Under Ease. It's never a pleasant experience. It's not really like an interaction thing. It's like, do I have a better hand than you? Like, that's really what it comes down to. But I'm going to attack with a Raijin there. Yeah, Elysium 3200 body. Like, that's really good. So attack with 1,000. Be my dramatic attack things. And then I'm going to go ahead and attack directly with Elysium. 3,200, and then effective Alistair to boost by 1,000. And that is enough. Boom, and that's game. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty fun. Would you like to see more remote duels? Like, what would you like to see from a remote duel? But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.